We just a couple of days ago, we announced a really cool partnership with a company called Orn and ORNN. And what Orn does is they create indexes for compute. So for example, an index that tracks the daily rental price of H100 Nvidia GPUs, or an index that tracks the price of buying, a particular kind of DRAM memory. And these are, critical inputs to AI compute workloads. And so these large, AI companies that are training models and spending, tens of millions or hundreds of millions or sometimes even billions of dollars on their training and their compute, don't really have a way to hedge the price of, let's say, renting GPUs. And so, are these products that we're going to make together, which are, perpetuals on compute power and compute inputs, will allow these AI companies and hardware vendors and model providers and AI companies that are consuming these, models to be able to both speculate and hedge. And so we think those will be new participants of this market. Pretty much any kind of power-based input should have a derivative to let people transfer risk.
Does something like that already exist in traditional markets, or like you guys are the first to this market?
I think we will be the first to have an exchange-traded future. I mean, Orn themselves have executed swaps over the counter
Right.
between two parties, and a couple of that I'm sure has happened before. And of course, there's, things like long-term contracts, that you can do with a data center to be able to lock in a price. But that's different than having like an actual central order book for an exchange traded derivative. And we think we're going to be the first.
Does the players coming together make the costs lower? What are the other reasons for them to go to an exchange?
I mean, it depends what you mean by costs lower. Does it lower the cost of the underlying commodity? Not necessarily.
No, not that.
But does it greatly decrease the slippage into getting
Right,
into a
right.
contract? Yeah. Does it increase the transparency? Yes. So, I would hate, it would be really bad if every time um, a hedge fund wanted to hedge their market exposure by selling an S&P 500 future, if they had to go find a party and sign an ISDA agreement and do an over-the-counter swap and wait, a week for the lawyers to finish the paperwork. Instead, they get to, within microseconds, get in and out of futures contracts. And so, I think, it's a matter of time before the same thing will happen in compute.